football, not soccer. Today, we are talking about an incident that happened in Europe. But before we jump into it, Miko, how you doing, brother? I know you in
Great.
Italy. You,
Yeah,
you look very
I'm great.
relaxed, actually. You
Thank
look
you,
very
brother.
relaxed, man. Yeah. All right, guys. So, as I said, as we typically say, should I go back to, please like and subscribe to our YouTube channel. Um, the last episode we had was incredible. We had obviously the football agent, Leslie Favre from the Sports Empire Group. Very informative video. If you haven't watched it yet, go back and watch our previous episode. So today's topic is quite a controversial one, and it's one in which I think is worth discussing. And thank you, Miko, for bringing this again to our attention. So if you guys watch European football, you would have seen that this week the Turkish Super League, as the title from the paper from Reuters goes, Turkish League is halted after club president punches referee in the face. So yes, you read right. The president of this football club, and we're going to try not to butcher the name, Ankaragucu, which is a Turkish football league team, and the Turkish Federation has actually suspended all league games across the league after this incident. So, Miko, I know you wanted to talk about this specifically. Let's go into the incident and let's actually take the audience through what happened. I have my own opinions on this, and obviously, this should be condemned in any way, in any sports. This should never happen. And I think when it comes to looking at the ownership, and he's obviously the president of this club, when you do your background on this individual, he has quite a controversial past, being involved in politics as well as being an entrepreneur. But we'll get into that. So, Miko, take us through the incident, what happened, and give us your thoughts and your opinion on it.
Yeah, what happened? I just read the news, and what happened during this match in Ankara, in the capital of Turkey. The team, I don't remember the name. You pronounce it better than me. And
Ankaragucu.
I gotta go through. Okay, I gotta go through.
Yeah.
The president is a Farouk something.
Yeah, Farouk
He
Kuka is his name.
Kuka, yeah. After at the end of the match, he he jumped into the field. He had two of his I don't know, two people that work with him. I don't know, to his employees. They really assaulted the the referee, the young referee, and I don't know if you had time to check the picture also. His eye. He went to the
and
hospital.
I'll put it up here in the video of what the guy looked like.
Yeah, he went to the hospital. Fortunately, the president was arrested. I have no memory of anything like that before. I don't remember anything like that before. Yeah, well, I know some some presidents. They're very crazy, a little bit crazy, nervous. Even in Italy back in the day, but they were fighting with the journalist. You know, they were fighting probably with the players, yeah, with the referee as well. But you never put your hands on the referee or even on the other people, on the opponents or whatever. So this really shocked me. And as far as I read, that the Turkish league, they completely stopped the league, and I believe they got the right decision. I don't know if the UEFA will do something as well, but I know that the fans, supporters are not guilty for anything the president did, but for sure some penalties for this team would happen.
Yeah, so I think, taking a step back, first of all, the incident itself should be condemned fully, right? Should not be acceptable. There's no place for that in any game. And I mean, that typically happens in the lower leagues or the amateur leagues. I mean, even growing up playing football myself, there would be an incident now and then where a parent would get involved and maybe try have a massive argument with the referee. And there actually was times where there was assault. But this is in amateur lower leagues before a lot of attention was brought towards the welfare of the referees. And to your point, so the league had suspended all league games. I think that's the best decision because that sets a precedent. This will not be tolerated in the game. And you're absolutely right. So he was actually arrested because he will be charged with assault for sure, and obviously breaching their respective league rules. and the club will likely be fined. And to the point, whether they get points deducted or it's financial fine, that'll be determined. And I think they'll come down hard on him and the club purely because this is something that could have led to something worse. Because what actually happened was at the end of the game, obviously he was not happy with some of the decisions that was being made in the game.
Mm-hmm.
And the president, yeah, quite rightly so, with his entourage, or call it whatever you will, walked up to the referee and punched him, fell to the floor, and he still got kicked whilst he was on the floor. That's quite a traumatic event for anyone, right? And it's your place of work, essentially. It's like walking into your place of work and being assaulted by people that are patrons, for example. So completely unacceptable. And I do feel like the Turkish Federation and the laws, the civil laws, will obviously take care of that. But this gentleman, whose name is Farouk Kuka, as I mentioned, was a politician as well as an entrepreneur. And we all have heard various stories as well as conspiracies around the Turkish government, as well as the corruption that goes in any form of government, actually, not only the Turkish government. So it speaks volumes to the type of individual that this may be. But what I like to bring it more towards are people that don't really understand the severity of this. So if you look at like English Premier League teams, like a very well-known president of a football club would be Daniel Levy from Tottenham Spurs, the club in which actually Leslie Favre has done a lot of business with, ironically. And Daniel Levy is the president of Tottenham Hotspurs. And he is seen as a very shrewd businessman that makes sure that the club is run like a business and is profitable and has revenue streams and so on. That's why Tottenham was able to build their £1 billion stadium recently in London. It's like him almost going onto the pitch, this well-established president, and punching the referee in the face, like a Martin Tyler or something like that back in the day. So it is completely unacceptable. I do think that they will feel the punishment of that. But I have a question for you. So talking about referees, we've spoken about this in the past, which is VAR, which a lot of the referees have come under a lot of scrutiny recently, not only in the Turkish league, but in any league. A lot of the Premier League, because that's a league I focus on a lot, but you see it happen all around the world where poor decisions are being made. The biggest issue is the consistency as well as the clarity of the rules. And it's difficult if there's no clarity on certain rules for the referees to uphold certain consistencies and laws. But there is a lot of incidences where referees are completely making the wrong decision, blatantly ignoring the rules and certain other things. Do you think there's a lot of pent-up frustration amongst many people across the various football leagues towards referees, considering how much controversy is around referee decisions and VAR currently?
Yes, absolutely. Yes, you're absolutely right. People are frustrated, but referees. We had to start from one point. Why are they making all these mistakes? Okay, why? They're human. They're humans like football players, footballers. They make mistakes as well, right? And sometimes they make mistakes um, uh, towards your team, other times towards other teams. So I don't want to say that they compensate the mistakes. They make all these mistakes, but especially with the VAR, they reduced many of those. They reduced many of those, but some of those are still out there. And what I don't understand, to be honest, is who is making a final decision today. Is the referee on the field or the referee on the VAR? This is something that I still a bit confused, because you played football. I played football as well, and what you have on the field is different to what you watch on the TV or just a monitor, right? And sometimes what you feel on the field is not a foul. On the VAR, so on the monitor, you think is a big fault, and everybody thinks that if the referee doesn't give you, I don't know, a penalty or some apparently big fault, I don't know, he did a bad decision, or he sold the match to the team, no, to the biggest team especially. But
And
I
and
believe that.
your team Juventus will know a lot about those kind of incidences. Hey,
Yeah, yeah, that's true. But now I don't want to talk about this because
you have a
yeah,
bit of experience in some of this. Hey, greasing referees' hands, as they say.
yeah, I have a bad experience. But this is another topic. Probably we can talk another day about this because you remember about Calciopoli, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, when
No, I
Juventus
recall. I
2006, bro,
recall that.
2006, Juventus went in the second division.
I mean, to that point, that is a conversation within itself with Juventus, how they actually maintained a lot of their key players. Like I recall, Del
Yeah,
Piero,
yeah.
I think Trezeguet, a lot of them actually
Was
stayed
another
to get
era,
them back,
bro.
right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
was another time when
Mm.
the shirt, the history of the club was still important for the players. A lot of players before wanted to play for that team forever, for the whole career. Nowadays is not like that. The players, they're just following money, fame, and that's it. I mean, I was looking for an interview of Paolo Maldini. You remember Paolo Maldini? When they
Mm.
were going to the dressing room, he said back in the day, him and all the players like Baresi and many other big players, Pirlo, blah blah blah, Marco Van Basten, he played with Van Basten Gullit. And you go to your dressing room, it was completely silent. The dressing room was silent. Now it's different. Everybody with the headphones, playing music, singing. They before a football player was just focused on football. And if you think about Rafa Leao, he said, "Oh, Rafa Leao one day called me was a Friday night. Was a Friday on Friday night. He came out with his first music song, and he called me, hey Paolo, sorry, can I just uh, publish my song? Usually every song get published on midnight, on Friday midnight, every song around the world. So can I publish at midnight? Can I stay awake? Blah blah blah. He said, okay, yeah, sure, you can do it. I'll leave tomorrow. You score 2 goals. What I want to say with that, the time is different. Everything changed. Before, back in the day, you couldn't do that. You were focused only on football, 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 silent concentration, focus. Now it's not like that.
Yeah, I mean, and I think obviously we've kind of digressed from the topic, but it is a good point. We will definitely have a conversation on this because, I mean, you've even seen quite recently Nemanja Matic, who used to play at Manchester United prior to that Chelsea, then went on to Roma, and now he's playing somewhere else.
Hmm.
He recently came out with an interview where he was almost saying when he was at Manchester United, they actually had a committee where they were fining players for coming in late to work. And it speaks to your point
Right,
of the
right.
current mentality of players. It's also the money that they're earning, but it's also down to how the clubs are treating these individuals, which also leads to a lot of problems later on in their careers when they want to retire and they have to get reintegrated back into society. But going back to the topic now with referees, and obviously, again, going back to this Turkish incident, we'll see what the outcome will be. I think it should be completely condemned. I do think that there is a lot of frustration that is gone towards referees now, particularly in the leagues where they're using VAR. Because to your point now, the game has obviously changed. The game will always be changing, but I think it's kind of lost sight of a key facet of it, which is the the impetus or the instances around a spark or an incident that's just completely amazing. But nowadays, a lot of people are holding their breath when there's an amazing goal or when there's an incident because they don't know if it's going to be called for offside or disallowed for an incident that happened 3, 4 plays
Uh,
before. And a lot of people will associate those bad decisions and their frustration now that they've kind of lost from the game down to the referees and on which the rules in which are created are being executed on. And I think part of this is partly due to that. I think this was probably not the first incident where a referee had done something that maybe had an impact on this team, and it's pent up frustration. But you can't go do that. There's ways and means to go about doing this. But I do think that even if you look at the POGML, I think it's called the Premier League Referees Association, they're very much protected. Even when they make a blatant mistake and they come out, They can simply just apologize for it and they're not held accountable for it. But there needs to be accountability because there's a significant amount of money involved in every game. If you lose a match and you get relegated, or if you lose a match and you end up in a certain position, or a goal is disallowed, my point is that nowadays there's so much money involved in the game. This is why the stakes are a lot higher. So for a president of the club to see he in an incident where he feels like his team has had injustice, he's just looking at the monetary facet of it, and he's just looking at the disrespect. But the game has changed, but there's no room for that in the game. Before we end off, Miko, do you want to close out on anything like this, or we'll head on to the
I
next
just
topic?
going to your point. I believe that the frustration for the referee nowadays is less than before VAR. And in Italy, what you're doing right now, probably a couple months, after a week, they showed the recordings of the VAR of the previous week, so you can listen what the VAR referee and the referee on the field are talking about, and why they didn't give a penalty, or why they gave a penalty, and all these topics. So I guess this is something and a big step for referees, because before, especially in Italy, you never had an interview of a referee, so you never knew why he got a bad decision. Now
Yeah.
at least you have something. At least, going to the other point, sometimes when you have a goal, you don't know if you have to be happy, glorify, blah blah blah, or not. You had to hold yourself, you hold your breath. That's true. That's something that I dislike about this VAR, and I hope in the future it will change a little bit. And we also have to accept mistakes, bro. This is what I believe. If a football player is 1-to-1 in front of the goalkeeper and misses a goal, what do you say? Hey, he did a big mistake, right? Same for the referee. Same. If we go to Manchester United,
But
a lot of mistakes
I
every
don't
week.
know. But I think there's a counter argument to that, right? I think it's the whole intention of VAR is to come in and eradicate the human errors. That is the intention. But I think a lot of people are getting frustrated because they're looking at incidences in isolation. For example, when a player goes in for a tackle and their foot slips over the ball, there's no malice intention when his studs hit the other player. But the rule is if a player lifts his studs up and it hits the other player, it's considered dangerous play and he'll be sent off if he makes contact. But what's happening is with VAR, they're looking at that incident in frames and they're pausing on the incident when the guy's contact is hitting him. But if you look at it in real time, the guy's leg is just going through the ball and actually it just touches the. So my point is that the frustration towards referees in VAR is warranted in certain regards. Look, I don't know what's happening in the Italian leagues, but I do think it's a good idea for them to disclose the verbal conversations which they do this in rugby, but they do that in real time, which I think the game eventually needs to move towards, so people can have real time look at what decisions have been made, because it creates a lot more visibility and clarity. I think soccer is starting to head that way, but due to the nature of football traditionally, with the kind of fans that you get, fans in football are far more, for lack of a better word, aggressive. I wouldn't sound them violent. Then even rugby fans, for example, and which is an interesting thing because rugby is considered more of a gentleman's game, even though it's more aggressive. My point is that I think the reason why up until now in football they haven't disclosed these recordings and stuff like that is because people will get aggressive and see it the wrong way. But I do think it's necessary.
Yeah, bro. I guess the referee on the field doesn't have that power as before anymore. And they feel more protected when the VAR is calling you to go and check the monitor. Did you notice this? That when the referee got called to go and review on the VAR, always change his. I mean, not always, but 90% of the times, change his decision on the field. He changed it.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, VAR called me, so probably they know better than me. I will give a penalty. So the referee has a less
it's
responsibility nowadays.
yeah, it's a very good point, right? And I think, again, I'll always say, I think there's room for VAR. I just think it's been completely implemented or executed or even utilized completely incorrectly. That's what I would say.
Mm-hmm.
But
Mm-hmm.
we've come to the end, Miko. Thank you so much again, brother.
Thank you, brother.
Everyone that's listening, please like and subscribe again. Please leave any comments into the comment section and look out for our next episode. Take care, everyone.
Bye, guys.